Kevin Durant, one of the biggest names on the trade market heading into the busy summer of the NBA. But will he get moved? And will the Suns actually get what they want? We've got the latest report on what the Suns are looking for. And oh boy, they are asking for a lot. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. Donnie, it's been a season from hell for Phoenix. I don't think they're even going to make the play-in at this point.
No, I saw that they've been eliminated, actually.
They've been eliminated from
play-in contention.
Have they?
Yeah, I saw a tweet about that yesterday. No?
Maybe it was.
No. I'm pretty sure I saw that.
They can't be. They're only 2 games back in the loss column. If Dallas loses out.
Yeah. Okay, well, they're right there. Maybe if they lose one more game.
They're on the verge. They've lost 6. Okay. They're not going anywhere. That's the bottom line. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. What they've played, they have 4 games remaining. The Mavs have 3 games remaining. And so basically Dallas needs to lose all the remaining games and the Suns would need to win all the remaining games. I don't know who has the tiebreak. It doesn't matter. Yeah. The Suns are not making the postseason. It's been awful for Phoenix, no question. And at the trade deadline, they look to potentially move Kevin Durant. They couldn't find a taker for Bradley Beal, who has a no trade clause, and Beal was not willing to waive that no trade clause. So they're stuck there. They look to potentially move Kevin Durant, almost move him to Golden State. KD said, I don't want to get moved midseason, and I don't want to go back to the Warriors. And so that killed that. Now they're widely expected to move Kevin Durant this summer in a trade because they don't really have much else they can do. They're not going to trade Devin Booker, and they can't trade. They would love to trade Bradley Beal, but they can't. So what is it that they're looking for in return, though, for KD? The reporting on that from Brian Windhorst is that they want a lot. The Suns were looking for a massive haul in return per sources, and that may not be in the cards. Durant is going to be 37 years old, still worth the $55 million contract that he's going to earn next season. A 2-year, $120 million max extension might be what he's looking for.
Oh boy.
And we start running into the age 38 rule and all that stuff, but man, that's a lot. If you're going in to pay Kevin Durant $60 million a year, that's a lot of money to put on the books.
Yeah, Jimmy just got the same thing though, so I think that's fair. That's a fair ask,
right?
That's a fair ask.
Jimmy Butler just got that. But so if you're a team though, and you're going to trade for Kevin Durant, and not only do I have to trade for Kevin Durant, I have to give up things to get Kevin Durant. I also have to give KD this contract where there's a chance that at the end of it's not looking good, that final year of that contract or whatever. So there's that teams are going to have to factor in too, and that's going to hurt the Suns' negotiation here. So the Suns, according to Windhorst here, if the Suns arrive at a crossroads where they have to move Durant, they might have to decide between getting what they want, which is a package of players and draft capital, and settling for what they need. We've talked about this in the past, Donnie. The Suns, ideally, they want 3 things. They want players that can help them win now, they want draft capital, and they want the ability to drop below the second-tier apron. And we'll take a look at that in a minute. Windhorst is saying they're probably going to have to decide either drop below the apron or get players that are going to help you. You're not getting both. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. It's not what the Suns want to hear, but I would be shocked if there was a team out there willing to give them all 3, despite how good KD is.
Yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen with the KD trade specifically. Maybe you'd get some combination of those 3 things if Booker was the one you were trading, just because he's younger.
Sure. Yeah.
And under, cost control for another few years as well. Like, you've got him under contract. So maybe if that was the case, but with KD, I think there's a little bit of uncertainty about how long he'll play. He's in the late 30s now. He's going to want that extension, injury concerns as well. Like, there's some questions there. So I just can't see a team giving up all of that for KD. And I think, like I said, he's worth the money if he's out there. It's just what kind of team is he going to? I think that Durant needs to go to a specific team that has specific pieces. If you want to, we've talked about this, if you're going to trade for Durant, you're doing so knowing you're going to have to pay him, but also it's not going to be like a team that's not a Kevin Durant away from winning a championship. It's going to be a team that's extremely close. Yeah. And you're going to have to, if you're going to give up this stuff, you're probably going to have to give up a piece or 2 of that core. So is that worth it? That's where it's tricky.
Right. And that's where it does get tough. Especially if Phoenix says, I think a Minnesota trade is tough. I think Minnesota will be interested, but making it work can be difficult. But if you're the Suns, you're saying, well, we want Jaden McDaniels then, right? If we're going to give up. And then if you're the Wolves, you say, well, do we really want to give him up? And you get in a round and round, you go into that type of situation. And there's other teams that may look at KD and say, he's the guy that could put us back into the playoffs. Maybe if we talk about like an Atlanta or someone like that can really boost us up, but maybe we're not like ready to roll contenders. I think OKC is maybe the funniest outcome just because of, the history they've got there. And if they do fall short this year in the playoffs, we'll see. They're still a wonderful team. But right now the Suns 11.4 million above the second tier apron. They might just say, you know what, we're in apron hell right now. We need to get below this. And I don't think teams are going to be willing to eat the money that it would cost in order to give the Suns the ability to drop below that second tier apron, in addition to giving the Suns back draft capital, in addition to giving the Suns back players that can help them win right now with Devin Booker, right? And be willing to give Kevin Durant the extension he wants. Because remember, if you're not willing to give him the extension, then he's going to say, all right, well, screw you guys. I'm going to walk next summer as a free agent. And teams really aren't going to be willing to do that either, because why give up a bunch of stuff that the Suns want for 1 year of Kevin Durant? It becomes a very tricky situation where I think the Suns, I think Windhorst is right. The Suns are going to have to decide, what do we prioritize? Do we want future salary relief? Do we want players? Do we want draft picks? Because you ain't getting all three.
I think that with him having his contract the way it is and that flexibility, he'll also have some leverage to determine where he wants to go also. Like you're really going to look at probably a handful of teams that are even going to be able to do this, that Durant would even approve off of. And then he's going to be like, I don't want to go there if you're going to trade so-and-so. Like it's going to be tricky, because I just don't think they can get all of that. I think that's asking for too much, and they're going to have to, hit the middle ground. Something's going to have to give. So if you're Phoenix, what specifically do you think they should be targeting if they are forced to pick between some of that stuff? Is it the relief? Is it the young players? Because they've kind of they've got this timeline here where, setting Beal aside, Book's 28. I mean, is he going to want to sit through another rebuild? What does that look like?
It sucks to say it, but they look at him, and Windhorst referenced this. You look at what happened with the Clippers with Paul George. They had to make a very difficult decision. They had to, and this is the CBA that is creating these difficult decisions. And the Clippers ultimately decided, hey, you know what? We're gonna bite the bullet here. We're gonna maintain flexibility. We're not gonna get anything for Paul George here, but we're gonna have flexibility, and we're gonna be better off in the long run because of it. I think the Suns may have to do that. Is they may have to say, you know what? And on paper that a trade will go down with Kevin Durant. And everybody's going to go, oh, my God, that's all they got for KD, because it's not going to be a lot in draft capital. It's not going to be a lot in future players, maybe to be a player or two that's just kind of a rotation guy. And people are going to say the Suns got screwed. But it's going to be about the salary relief. And you might have to take that from the casual fan, that kind of initial shock, the opinion that you lost the trade in order to maintain the flexibility that you're going to need into the future. And it's a tough pill to swallow, given where Phoenix thought they were going to be. But I do think they're seeing why the second tier apron is so difficult to work with. They're seeing why flipping the double middle finger at the NBA CBA and saying, we don't care what it says. We're going to spend anyway. We're going to put 3 stars together anyway. Why that was such a dangerous path for them. It didn't pay off. And now I think they kind of have to pay the piper here, and they're going to wind up, I think, having to drop back below that second tier apron and falling in line salary wise.
Yeah, that may be the best course of action. But like I was saying, well, what's the plan after that? Are you going to try to sell Booker on another rebuild? Say, hey, maybe we can get another player in here that's on the same timeline as you, and we can keep this going, be competitive over the next couple of years. The West isn't getting any easier. No. I don't really know. Seems like they're going to be stuck in purgatory and just in the middle because of the decisions that they made. Particularly, and again, we've thrown a lot at him, but there was no reason for them to trade for Beal. It just was the worst decision they could have made. It wasn't a basketball fit on paper either. Like, I didn't understand that. They kind of just said, you know what, screw the CBA, and they're paying the price for it. Like, for multiple reasons, they're paying the price, and there's not a lot they can do. They don't have flexibility, and getting the flexibility would be nice, but what are you doing with that? I mean, we just saw this team create flexibility at the deadline or before the deadline, and they did nothing with it. Now that may be valuable later. I don't know, but up to now, they did nothing with that. So,
turning their future first unprotected into 3 low-level first-round picks so they could piece those out in a Bradley Beal trade that would net them Jimmy Butler, and then they didn't get Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
brutal.
Or the flexibility
absolutely
to
brutal.
Use their own picks, that were steppy and restricted, right? So.
Right. And maybe they do take that flexibility and use it for something this summer and turn this around. Right now, it doesn't look good because they did all that to get Jimmy Butler and did not get Jimmy Butler. Now, here's an extreme scenario that they could actually waive Bradley Beal, use the stretch provision, get him to take a buyout, which if I'm Bradley Beal, I don't even know if I want to do that. Do I want to take a buyout? I know he'd be a free agent and things are not good in Phoenix and all that. But what if he just likes Phoenix?
Yeah.
I mean, you're asking him to, but that could drop you below the second-tier apron. You wouldn't have to trade Durant. Maybe the Suns ultimately decide, hey, a bunch of dead money sitting, $100 million in dead money sitting on our books. Maybe that's preferable to trading Kevin Durant when we can't get X, Y, and Z that we want in a trade.
That's
so awful. That's so awful.
That's terrible.
Oh my God.
Oh my, that's
here's the problem with these situations though. It's not out of the question for next year. Maybe it's 2 years, but Bradley Beal suddenly becomes an expiring contract. The situation changes. Maybe he's got a team he wants to go to. Maybe that opens up. If you waive him and stretch him now, done. It's dead money. There's nothing you can do with it. There is no flexibility. Now, maybe Bradley Beal says, on my life, I will never waive the no trade clause. You will never move me. Okay. Then maybe you start looking for nuclear options like that. But that to me still feels very extreme in terms of, just trying to say, well, no. And this is what this says to me, Donnie. This says to me that the Suns are trying to float out there. You know what? We don't have to trade KD to get below the second tier. We've got this option here. Maybe we are crazy enough to do it. So if you want KD, you got to give us something. You got to give us something if you want KD, because we do have another path. We've got another path we could go down. That's what this is to me, Donnie. This is the Suns saying, don't try to hardball us on a Kevin Durant deal because, we want to get below the second tier apron, but there's another way we could do it. We don't need your help in a Kevin Durant trade to do it. Maybe we'll just keep KD if you don't give us what we want. This is a desperate attempt at leverage on the KD trade front. That's all I think it is, Donnie.
Yeah, hopefully so. This is just you have to come out and say, hey, we want all these things, right? It's just when push comes to shove, what are you actually going to be okay accepting? Because they're doing this selling high. They're not, they can't be expecting to get all that, because it's as easy as it is for us to sit here and dissect this and be like, yeah, that's not happening. I'm sure that they are able to do the same thing. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But I just got to say, Beal is he's funny because he's trying to be a better villain than Thanos here, talking about, no matter what you do, I'm never leaving.
I am inevitable. I don't know if he would actually say that. He's floated a few times out there I hold all the cards.
Yeah,
he knows it.
His life is good, right? He said his life is good.
I don't blame him. Man. I mean, he negotiated that in his contract. He said, hey, there's nothing. I mean, NBA player, this is a real stress on NBA players, getting traded, the fear of getting traded, all that. It is a real stress in NBA players' lives. And Bradley Beal's like, nah, I don't have to worry about that at all.
I
I'm
do
good.
The same thing, to be honest. It's a teeny bit shameful, not wanting to leave and all that stuff, making all that money, missing all them games. Okay, whatever. But at the same time, I can't fault you for it. I would do the same thing.
That's where I wonder, though, could he come off that this summer if he finds a good opportunity somewhere or something? And I don't know that there's a team that would be bending over backwards to get Beal. But
remember?
Maybe go back to Washington just on the idea that he would care about becoming the all-time leading scorer for the Wizards. I don't know. I wouldn't care about that if I'm Bradley Beal. But anyway, we'll see where this all winds up. Kevin Durant, where will he go? The Suns, they want a lot for him. And I don't know that they're going to get everything that they want in this situation. In fact, I'm pretty certain that they're not. And I think if the Suns make the right move strategically, they're probably going to lose in the press for a little bit. They're going to have to bear the brunt of you lost that trade. Whereas if they make the move that helps them land pieces that, makes the trade look a little better for them, they might not be able to get the financial flexibility that they want in that type of situation.
Yeah. When you say that, it makes me think of the OKC trade from last year for Giddey. That was perceived terribly.
The Bulls trade.
Yeah, that was perceived terribly. And everyone was like, "Oh, that's all you got for Caruso? Like you didn't do anything, this and that." But I think that was a pretty good trade for both sides. Like I think
it's worked out for Chicago. Giddey's hit another level.
Yeah, I think Giddey's been really good for them, and he projects to be much better with the ball in his hands there. And obviously, Caruso's going to come up big for them as well in the playoffs, and he's already come big for them defensively as well, helping with the culture of that team too. So it reminds me of that, to where like it's just perceived so badly for one side, and that may be what happens with the KD trade here on a much bigger scale, of course.
But this could be the problem with Chicago. Josh Giddey's been playing extremely well, and now he's going to get paid. And we've only seen him play well for a little bit of time here, and now he's going to have to get a big new contract. This is part of, I think, what the Thunder were avoiding.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that next contract looks. But right now, yes, in terms of just what he's providing on the floor, yeah, you're right. Josh Giddey is giving you more value. So maybe it has to be something like that, where you lose in the immediate future, but then at some point, people are going to look back. Like with Paul George, everybody went, oh my God, myself included, went, oh my God, what a huge loss for the Clippers. And now we're looking at it going, all right, it didn't really hurt the Clippers that much. No. And oh my God, what did the 76ers do? You never know the way this thing's going to play out.
When you said Paul George, I thought you meant the other Paul George trade. Which I was going to be like, that one is still really bad.
No, that one, the one that the Thunder did was, oh my God, what a haul for the Thunder. That was great. Yeah.
That one was weird because it was the opposite. Like nobody was upset about that trade on either side. But looking at it in hindsight, it's ridiculous.
Yes, absolutely. So where will Kevin Durant land? I think there's a lot of different teams that could talk themselves into it. I think that I don't think anybody's going to give the Suns everything that they want. And so the Suns are going to have to decide, what do we prioritize? Is it cap relief, or is it players or draft picks? And that, I think, will shrink the pool to a degree, depending on what it is the Suns want. And then where does KD want? Where does he want to go? That's going to matter in this whole situation as well. So it's going to be a big talking point all the way throughout the summer, but the Phoenix Suns in a very tough spot. They want a lot for Kevin Durant. Don't think they get it, but KD's also going to have his say in where he ultimately lands here. And the Suns, might they do something crazy like waive and stretch Bradley Beal? I don't see it. To me, I think it's desperate flailing to try to get some type of leverage into Kevin Durant, because everybody knows that the Suns have to do something. They can't keep doing this, and they have to move on from somebody here. So we'll see what the market looks like for Kevin Durant this summer and the Phoenix Suns, and if there's a team that's willing to not only trade stuff to get KD, but also pay him on that next contract, that extension that he's going to be looking for. Certainly a big thing for the summer. Donnie, your gut, pick one team. Where does he land?
OKC, I think, is low-hanging fruit. I'll say Memphis. Let's say
all right. I like Memphis. Memphis is a team that badly needs to make some changes. I'll tell you this. Ooh, I don't think they should do this. I don't think they should do it. But the Blazers have been playing much better basketball the second half. What if they undo their draft decision of taking Greg Oden over Kevin Durant, and they say, you know what? Everybody thinks we need to move Jeremy Grant. Everybody thinks we need to move DeAndre Ayton. Everybody thinks we need to move Anthony Simons, all these guys, and just commit to the young players. What if we say we're going to let the young players help us try to win right now, and we're going to bring in a piece that could put us back in the playoffs, and that's Kevin Durant. I'm trying to think outside the box here. It's not likely.
Later, right?
Yeah, all right. Try to undo that draft day mistake. Everybody, let us know your thoughts, though. Where will Kevin Durant wind up? And are the Suns going to get anywhere close to what they want in a trade? Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.